My name is Shirley Meyer Blankenship. In 2011, I initiated the Harp Legacy Project in order to assist composers in the creation of viable harp notation. The catalyst for this project was the accumulation of encounters with scores that were awkward at best or simply impossible to perform, thereby requiring editing or rewriting before I could even begin practicing. I have now become aware of the fact that this is the proposition for all harpists. Even after conducting a course solely focused on harp composition, I found that at the end of the semester, all of the compositions still required one-on-one attention in order to be harpist ready. Consequently, since 2011, I have been on a mission to participate in the editing of scores one at a time. I now have a substantial collection of before and after pages to employ in my aspirations to generate exciting, new, and feasible harp compositions. In addition, I can present Harpinars, where it is possible to present to an entire class or group notational issues and solutions using one of my edited scores. One of these scores is from an opera entitled The Dream Maker by Domenic Guastaferro. Domenic sent me his score, and I sent back edit sheets that look like the one you are viewing. Then together we discussed and worked through the issues via Skype screen sharing. I will first address the pedal issues found in his score. The harp has 7 pedals. On the right, we have E, F, G, and A. On the left, B, C, and D. Each pedal has 3 notches. When this E pedal is in the top notch, all of the E's on the harp are flat. When I move it down into the natural position, that affects all of the E's on the harp to make them natural. In the bottom position, we have E sharp. It is not possible to have an E natural and an E flat at the same time. However, it is possible to have an E natural and a D sharp at the same time. Enharmonic spellings come in very handy when composing for the harp. Here we have a harp matrix. It indicates the positions of the pedals at any given point of time. When the marking is above the horizontal line, it indicates that the pedal is in the flat position. When the line goes through the horizontal line, it represents the natural position. Over here, we have a line below the horizontal line indicating, in this case, that B would be sharp. It is possible to change 2 pedals at the same time, as long as they are on opposite sides of the harp. Consequently, we can change the pedals D and A at the same time, or G and C, or B and E, or any other combination. When indicating 2 simultaneous pedal changes, place the right foot pedal markings above the left. As we see here, the E is indicated above the B, F above the C, G, which is on the right side, above the D, which is on the left. When changing 2 pedals at the same time, both pedals can go up, both pedals can go down, or they can go in opposite directions. When viewing Domenic's score, I notice a pedal matrix placed in between the 2 staves. It's rather crowded there, so I prefer to have it below the staff, over to the left, either at the beginning or under the 2 measures of rest, where it is clearly visible. I see in the matrix the inclusion of an A flat. This would be correct, since the first time the harpist encounters an A, it is indicated to be flat. When I come to this matrix, I also know that there is a B flat here. This would not be correct because there has been no indication of a change to B flat up here. Continuing on, I see E flat, E natural, E flat, E natural, E flat. This would be problematic because when I play this E, it is still going to be vibrating at the time that I change to an E flat. This will cause an unwanted pedal noise each time. So let's see, how could I solve that problem? What I decided to do was put an F flat right here at the beginning and change all the E's to F flat. A very good use of enharmonic spellings. By doing that, I get rid of all of these unnecessary pedal changes. Continuing in the score, I notice that I have an A natural and G sharp on 2 consecutive 16th notes. Both of these pedals are on the right side of the harp. It makes this situation very risky. So what I decided to do was change the G sharp earlier in a position where there were no G's, so I wouldn't be making some unwanted pedal noise. Then on the beat, I change A to natural, and on the and, F to natural. As much as possible, I try to integrate the change of pedals into the rhythmic structure of the composition. So you will notice over here, I change E natural and B natural at the same time on beat 1. Over here, F sharp and B flat at the same time on beat 1. That sets me up for the B flat and the F sharp. Over here, a G flat right on beat 3. Now I'm set up to play those 4 notes. On this page, I see again a matrix in between the 2 staves in a very crowded position. It is desirable to move this matrix down into the measure before, again where it is clearly visible. This matrix is supposed to represent the positions the pedals need to be in when the harpist begins to play this particular section. When I look at the matrix, I see an F sharp and a C sharp. When I look at the music, I also see an F sharp and C sharp, but I also see a G sharp. Those 3 pedals should be in the matrix at the outset. I don't need a D sharp in the matrix because the first encounter I have with the D is natural. There's another issue here that I need to know what pedals have to be changed in between the end of the previous section and this new matrix. So what I did over here in the edited version is I put in an arrival matrix. At the time I finish this passage, I will end up with a B flat and a G flat. So now I know that I need to change the G flat to a G sharp. I always prefer to put in each step, so I include in those changes G flat, G natural, and G sharp. At the time I change the G sharp, I can also change the C sharp. Again, we have right foot over left foot. Then I change F sharp and B natural at the same time. Again, right foot over left foot. When I have made all of these changes, I now have the pedal matrix here, which enables me to begin the next section. I am now going to talk about the disposition of the notes between the hands. For a pianist, this line is relatively simple and can be done essentially with one hand. This is not so easy for a harpist. For one thing, harpists only use 4 fingers each hand, and for another thing, harpists need to place fingers on the string securely before plucking the strings. This is called placing. This line becomes much more facile for the harp by dividing it between the hands. So here you see 3 notes in the left, 4 in the right, 4 in the left, 4 in the right. Going on in the score, I see a passage that is all in the bass clef and on one staff. This would indicate that all of those notes should be played with the left hand. It is done much more gracefully on the harp by dividing that line between the hands. So if you look at the edited score, you will see it divided 2 notes and 2 notes and 2 notes for the entire passage, with the exception of the first 4 notes that you see here and you see here. In this case, I elected to put 4 notes in the left hand. What that does is allow the right hand to come from the position in the higher register on the harp down to the position in the bass clef in order to place those 2 notes securely. On this page, I see another line all in the treble clef, where a pianist might elect to play all of that with one hand. For the harpist, it is much better to put 4 notes in the right hand, 4 in the left, 4 back in the right. I eliminated the slurs and replaced them with brackets. That indicates to the harpist that she or he can place 4 notes at once. In this passage, I decided to put 3 notes in the right hand instead of just 2. So I took out one of the notes from the left hand there and continued to do the same thing in the next measure. That created a series of chords that are all in the same configuration and therefore very easy to play. It also simplified the left hand a bit because it's easier to place 2 notes than it is those particular 3 notes. After that, I only now have 1 note in the left hand to do. This enabled me to be able to create a melodic line by placing the first 3 notes here, doing a thumb slide, and then placing 4 notes. This next measure here is interesting. If we go into the original version, we have 5 notes in the lower staff, which would indicate to the harpist that all of those notes should be played with the left hand. But since the harpist only uses 4 fingers on each hand, it would be nicer if the harpist only had to place 3 or 4 of those. And then I saw that we have a G flat here, and that's going to require a G flat pedal change. But we don't need this G flat because we already have an F sharp. So by changing this to an F sharp, I end up with the same 2 notes that I already have on the top of this chord. So what I decided to do in my score was put those 2 notes over here in the upper part where they are going to be repeated again. And if I look at this chord, it has 5 notes in it. Since a harpist does the 4 fingers per hand, it's not possible to do this chord anyway. So as I have it, the right hand only has to do the top 2 notes of the chord, and the left hand the bottom 3. As it turns out, the bottom 3 notes of this chord are the same bottom 3 notes I have here. I invite you to participate in this historic project by sending a score to me. After we have agreed upon the terms of our collaboration, I will send you edit sheets. From there, we can use the screen sharing feature of Skype or the phone to communicate about the issues and their solutions. Once we are done, the before and after pages will be submitted to the University of Illinois Music Library, where they will be placed in a special section entitled The Harp Legacy Project. Let's talk.